Today I will introduce how to disassemble and assemble the dispensing valve. We first remove the stroke assembly by rotating it. Note the direction of rotation of the stroke assembly. We proceed to remove the flow path for the glue. There are 2 screws here. Let's remove them. We call this the runner assembly. There is an O-ring between the 2 connecting parts to prevent loss during disassembly. The other end of this flow channel assembly can also be disassembled, mainly for easy cleaning. We removed the other end of the runner assembly, which also has 2 screws. There is also an O-ring in the middle of this interface. This is the O-ring. We must pay attention to these O-rings during the disassembly process. The O-ring seal on the other end of the flow channel assembly is here. Next we start removing the fixing screws of the nozzle. We use this tool to remove the nozzle fixing screw. This is the fixing screw of the nozzle. There is a tappet inside the valve body, which is used to hit the nozzle to cause the glue to flow out. We used our hands to push the tappet to see if we could squeeze the nozzle out. If the nozzle cannot be pushed out, use a tool to remove it. We need to use gentle force during the disassembly process because the push rod is made of tungsten steel. During disassembly, pay attention to the sealing ring on the component. Tungsten steel material has a characteristic that it has very high hardness and is very wear resistant, but it is also very brittle. This is the tappet, and we have to place it carefully. There is some glue residue on the surface of this push rod. We need to clean it off. This valve body also needs to be cleaned. Do not use sharp metal parts to scratch these component surfaces. The residue on the surface of this push rod is thermosetting glue, which solidifies when heated. Do not press the push rod too hard, gently scrape off the remaining cured glue. If we are using thermosetting glue, we set the heating temperature to within 45 degrees. Prevent glue from curing in the nozzle hole. If the nozzle is difficult to take out, we use a push rod to push the nozzle out. This nozzle is also made of tungsten steel. When we disassemble the dispensing valve, we must pay attention to the position and direction of the sealing ring. There is a sealing ring here. There is a white sealing ring here, which is placed under the nozzle. Then there is a sealing ring here. When we install the sealing ring, pay attention to the direction of the sealing ring. If the dispensing valve leaks glue, it means that the sealing ring is worn and needs to be replaced. How do you replace the seal? Use these tools. Use the thin part of this push rod to push it out. This thin part. Press down to release. This is the tool for removing the seal. Next, how to install this sealing ring. This sealing ring has very high precision requirements. If the sealing ring is worn, glue leakage will occur. Place the seal in this part first, paying attention to the direction of the seal. Note the orientation of the seal. Lay the sealing ring flat and press it down manually in the opposite direction. Then press down hard. The seal is now in a horizontal position and is then installed into the other parts. Then use the thicker part of the push rod to press the seal. Push down hard. Remove this part and the seal will be installed. After the seal is installed, we assemble the parts. There cannot be large gaps between parts. This is the fixing nut, which fastens the 2 parts. In order to extend the service life of the sealing ring, the heating switch will be turned off when it is not needed. Because the glue will dry out after heating, it will clog these parts or cause damage. We need to clean the nozzle and make sure the hole is unobstructed. The nozzle hole is required to be unobstructed and there should be no gaps at the nozzle mouth. We can hold the nozzle up to the light to check whether the inside of the nozzle is unobstructed. If the nozzle hole is clogged, use ultrasonic cleaning. After the nozzle is leveled, tighten it with the nuts. Then assemble the parts. Then tighten the nuts by hand. Then use this large opening to tighten the large nut underneath. Then tighten the nuts. Then use the part with the small hole to tighten the nut on top. Then tighten the nuts. When cleaning the dispensing valve body, please assemble the dispensing valve in the order described in the video. The tappet surface must be clean, otherwise the sealing ring will be damaged. If the sealing ring is damaged, glue will flow out from the gap in the dispensing valve body. Then apply a small amount of lubricating oil on the surface of the tappet. Wipe off the excess lubricant and apply it to the cylindrical surface. Lubrication is also needed here. The lubricant cannot go beyond this point because it will come into contact with the glue, slightly in front of the second section of the tappet. Just apply lubricant here. The lower part will be exposed to the glue. Pay attention to the installation direction of the green sealing ring on the push rod. The tappet is then inserted into the valve body. Oh, forgot one note. When we clean the dispensing valve, we should pay attention to this place. Let's take it down. If there is glue leaking out of this place, the glue is leaking out at this place. We must clean it up. This place needs to be cleaned up. We need to ensure that this push rod can move freely and without obstruction. If glue leakage occurs, it means that the seal is damaged. This seal is a consumable part and needs to be replaced if leakage occurs. If there is any residual cured glue here, use this part to clean it out. Remove any remaining glue by rubbing up and down. A yellow guide sleeve is placed on this valve body. If the guide sleeve is severely deformed, it needs to be replaced immediately. If this guide sleeve is severely deformed, the tappet may be damaged. If the dispensing machine is not working, the dispensing valve needs to be cleaned to prevent parts damage. After cleaning the remaining glue, we reassembled it. Be sure to ensure that the push rod moves very smoothly without any hitches. Now, let's introduce some frequently asked questions. The first thing to check is whether there is any glue leaking out here. The second problem is that if the amount of glue dispensed becomes smaller or the shape of the glue is not a regular circle, it means that there is a gap at the edge of the nozzle. If glue leaks out here, this indicates that the seal is damaged. If this sealing ring corrodes, deforms and expands, it will also affect the seal. Look at this sealing ring. It will become bigger after being soaked for a long time. You see, the new sealing ring is relatively small and just the right size. Let's look at the comparison of sealing ring sizes. Look at the gap. If the deformation is serious, we need to replace the seal. We replaced the seal with a new one. After replacing the new seals, we assembled them in the same way as before. There is also a seal here, and we check for the presence of the seal when we assemble it. Use 2 screws for fastening. This seal was used for a long time and we replaced it as well. Replace the seal with a new one. Let's put these 2 parts together. For this one we must assemble the large nuts first and then the parts. Pay attention to the order of installation. We use a wrench to tighten this large nut. This screw also needs to be tightened. Then install this part, paying attention to the direction of installation, holding the part with 2 fingers. Then tighten these 2 screws. Okay, assembly is complete. Next we assemble the trip parts. Note that when assembling this part, the center of the spring is aligned with the center of the tappet and rotated in horizontally, never tilted. Assembly was a little difficult because of the force of the spring, which we held against and slowly rotated. Do not follow the assembly of the video, as this can easily damage the nozzle. Do not do this because damage to the nozzle will affect the gluing problem. Once the threads of the assembly were hooked up to the valve body threads, we used a tool to rotate them. This one adjusts the travel of the firing pin, which affects the size of the dispensing. How do we adjust it? Adjustment: after we rotate the top of the firing pin when it cannot be rotated downward. Please remember the current scale position, assuming the current scale 8. We then rotate backward 1 turn to return to position 8. This is debugged. Once the screws are tightened, we'll just turn them back 1 more time so they're debugged. If you don't understand, watch the video over and over how it works. This dispensing valve body assembly debugging is completed, but ultimately depends on the actual glue dispensing effect. Let's explain one more time. When the screws are rotated and tightened to the end, then backed off 1 turn 360 degrees. It is then mounted on the working head of the machine and rotated a little to the left or right on this basis when adjusting the dispensing volume effect. Make fine adjustments to the left or right and then see the effect of the amount of glue dispensing. The dispensing is usually best when it is tightened and then returned 1 turn. If dispensing is not working well, make micro adjustments to the left and right. Below we will describe what seals are used for this dispensing valve, which you need to pay attention to when assembling it, so you don't forget to assemble it. A white seal. There's also a green seal for above the tappet. There is also a guide bushing to prevent side-to-side deflection from occurring. There is also a valve body guide sleeve. The short guide bushing is placed in this place. The short guides are on the bottom and the long guides are on the top. The long guide bushing is placed here. Where to place the short guide bushings has been described before. There is a blue seal that is placed under the tappet and placed in the valve body. Assembled in the tappet is this. A blue seal. Please check the orientation of the installation of these 2 seals, a white seal. This one has a guide bushing in the center. Then came the white seals. Then there is a nozzle seal underneath. There are 2 types of seals, one black and one white. The white is corrosion resistant for long life. This is the white seal. It's the seals that are these components. The guide bushings are probably placed in this position. The short guide is placed in this position. This is to place a long guide sleeve. Then there are seals in those locations. The two seals have been described previously. These two positions. And here's a seal. These two seals are the same size. And then here a seal. All seals for dispensing valves are here. Okay, thanks for watching. That's it for the dispensing valve video.